Alright guys, and we're back. I'm just going to make sure that the stream is working correctly before we get into more tech tips. So just bear with me real quick. All right. All right, so before I showed you how to install Firefox so that we wouldn't have to use Edge or Internet Explorer anymore. Now I'm going to show you how to set your default search service. Now what do I mean by that is when you come up to the bar here, the address bar, it'll say search with Google or enter address. Now let's say I didn't want to search with Google, but what I mean by search field is you come up here and you go hello world. Now if I were to hit enter here, it would search Google for hello world. But let's say that we don't want to use Google or we want to use a different service. Well, we can come over here and we go to these three lines, which is actually the main menu of Firefox. And we'll come down and we go to options. And this will open up the options and preferences for our Firefox. And also while we're in here, you notice it has Firefox updates. That's also a good thing. You can also check for updates by hitting this button. So what we want to do is we go over here to go to search, and you'll notice that it has default search engine, Google. Now if we don't want to use Google, we can go and click this button and use Bing. We can use Amazon, DuckDuckGo, which a lot of people are starting to like nowadays because it doesn't, they don't save any of your searches. eBay, Twitter, or Wikipedia. So let's say we want to change it to DuckDuckGo. Well, all we have to do is select it and we're set. You can just check the rest of the settings you want to use. And they also have more. Let's say it's not provided. They also have the option down here to where you can find more search engines than what's provided here. I'm pretty sure that just about every possible search engine on the planet by now is available in Firefox. So there is no save button. So anytime you save something, anytime you set something on Firefox, it's set. There's no click to save or apply button. So now if I come up here and I go hello world, it's going to say search with DuckDuckGo. So that's how you change your search service within Firefox. Let's see, the next thing I want to show you guys is let's say you have stuff, you see down here on the bottom where it has, where I've got Internet Explorer, I've got my documents folder, I've got the Windows store, and the default Windows mail client. Now, let's say that I have something that I like to open up quite often. Let's say I just gotten done installing Firefox and I want to leave it down here so that I don't have to go back. Let's say I'm doing stuff in Thunderbird and Thunderbird is maximized and I don't want to have to go back to the desktop or open up Microsoft's nice and cluttered interface here to find Firefox. Well, there's a solution to that. You can actually pin stuff to the taskbar down here. So you'll take your whatever you're wanting to pin. In this case, I'm going to do Firefox. So we're going to take it and we're going to put it down here, and you'll see it says pin to taskbar. So you'll let go and it pins it there. Now it's not running at the moment. It's not open, but it's still there. But it looks like it's running. So if we actually click this, it'll open up Firefox. And then once it's open, you'll notice down at the bottom there's a little blue line that's running underneath it. That's to let you know that the program is open, that it's currently running on the system. And it's there regardless if you minimize or maximize, it's still there. Now if you close Firefox again, you'll notice the blue line disappears, but the icon remains. That's to let us know, hey, Firefox is available and you can run it at any time. Now you may notice, hey, the icon is stuck way over here on the side. You know, maybe if I want to be really OCD and have all of my browser's icons sitting right next to each other. Well, you're not stuck with this default location. What you could do is you click once, but when you click, you hold the button down, and you can drag the icon and move it and place it right next to Internet Explorer. So now you have your two browsers right next to each other. Now the next thing is, while we're on the taskbar, is you'll notice that the taskbar is on some screens, especially laptops, it can be really big. So how can we make this smaller? And I wish Microsoft gave you more options on this, but there is one option. You can right click on the taskbar. You have to pick an open place on the taskbar. You'll right click and you'll see it says taskbar settings. So you'll right click there and then you'll left click on taskbar settings. And then once you do that, well, that's not taskbar. There we go. All right, it's just a little slow there. It'll open this up, and it has all kinds of options in it, but what we're looking for is we have to scroll. I think we scroll down here. We're both going to find out this together. Here we go. It's actually not even down there. It's as soon as you open it up, it's the fourth option down, at least until Microsoft adds more stuff and makes this more difficult to get to. It's the fourth option down right now. So it says use small taskbar buttons. Now this may not be a good idea if you can't see the desktop really well, because watch what happens when you turn it on. It makes your icons much smaller down here, and it also made the Cortana search field that normally runs across here, it actually turned it into a button. Now you have the option of turning Cortana's button into or Cortana's field rather into a button. If you come up here, and when you have the button set as big again, you'll notice that it turns back into a search field. But let's say you didn't want the search field there, but you want the buttons to be big as well. You can right click again right here in the search field, and you go up to Cortana, and you'll notice you have options of hidden, show Cortana icon, and show search box. And by default, Windows 10 is set to show search box. Now if you don't like Cortana at all, you can go to hidden, or if you don't use it very much or you don't like that annoying search field on the screen, you can hit show Cortana icon. And when I do that, it's the same setting as when you have the small buttons set. I usually like the small buttons because I love having as little real estate taken up as possible on my screen, so that I have more room for actual windows. So I'm going to close that. And then the next thing on our agenda today that I'm going to show you is the usage of the snipping tool. Now, when Windows 10 came out, I had no idea that this existed, and since I have found this tool, I have used it so much, probably more than anything Microsoft has ever came up with. It's really great if you have online friends because you can show them anything on your screen that you want. It's especially good if you use the program Telegram, which I use quite a bit, because you can show them pictures and you don't have to, you can just show them the pictures right away. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you 2 tech tips right in one. You notice there's no search field here anymore, and you're probably thinking, well, how? You took the search field away. How can you search now for things? Well, there's actually a little trick to that. Click on your Start button. Now you notice there's no search field, right? Start typing. So we're going to type SN, and you'll notice that even though there is no search field there, it will still show a search field and let you search for anything on the system. This is what I do on every one of my systems because I hate seeing the search field there at the bottom, but we're all different. So you're going to type in SN. Usually that's long enough to show snipping tool. So you'll see the snipping tool there, and we're going to open it. And it's a very, very small, compact application. But one thing that it's great for is you'll see it has new here. Now, let's say there's something on the screen that I want to show somebody, or I need to take a screenshot of to do something with. You wouldn't think that would be used very much in the real world, but boy, oh boy, it does help you, especially if you're needing a picture that you somehow can't save, or you somehow can't download because maybe it's stuck inside an application, or something that you can't normally save that doesn't have a save option. Well, guess what? With this you can. As long as you can get to the snipping tool, you can save it. So how does that work, you ask? Well, you'll click on your new here, and when you do that, you'll see that the screen turns this haze kind of color with this weird looking crosshair icon. And then what you'll do is you can click and hold the mouse button, and you'll notice it starts drawing a box. And it's going to draw a box around anything that's there. And it doesn't have to be the desktop, which is what I'm doing right now, but it'll do it it'll take literally a picture of anything that's within this box. So we're going to let go, and you'll notice that, hey, I now have this snipping tool that looks like a paint program sort of, but it has literally whatever I drew right there on the screen. Now what can you do with this? Well, let's say that there's something here that you want to highlight. You even have the option to come up here and using the highlighter and saying, hey, this is really important. Hey, there's a little icon over here. That's really important. But even if I didn't want to do all that, what I use it mainly for is you can either save this as a picture anywhere on your system, or you can come up here and you can go to copy, and you can literally paste this anywhere on your system that you can normally paste pictures, which that makes this program just amazing for so many different things. I've used it for homework, I've used it for research, you name it. So that's the snipping tool. And there's also, let's say you wanted to hit, and I've not used this very much, but let's say that you needed to delay. You can also come up here and go, I want a 5-second delay. So when I go to new, it'll wait, and then it'll give me the cursor. Now that's not very useful, but you can go up here and go to mode, and you'll notice that it says rectangular snip, freeze snip, window snip, or full screen snip. Now what these modes do is rectangular snip, you already know what it is. Window snip, it takes a screenshot of an entire window, and it's usually the active window. That will be the window that is currently on top. Full screen snip will actually take a picture of the entire screen. And free snip is really kind of weird. It's I still have this set for delay for some reason. So give it a second. Or I can turn the delay off. And we can draw any sort of weird, it doesn't have to be a square, and we can actually cut this, crazy looking picture of the desktop out. So that's the snipping tool. I mean, you could even do, like, if you need to erase things, well, actually that only erases, that's a total lie, it only erases things that you put on the screen prior to that. So that's pretty much the snipping tool in a nutshell. So, and before you close it, obviously it's going to ask, hey, you didn't save this. You can save it as all kinds of different things if you wanted to. The last thing I want to show you guys is, let's say you're getting up to get a coffee. It's not really this isn't really as handy at the house unless you have like young kids or whatever. But if you're out in public and let's say you leave your laptop open, and besides worrying about having it stolen, you're worried about somebody sitting down or seeing something on your screen or messing with your mouse or your keyboard. You do have the option of, instead of leaving it open like this, you have the option of locking it to where that no one can mess with your system unless they know the password. And there's a very quick method, and I always use this. You hold down the Windows key on your keyboard. It's the picture of the little window icon that we all know. So you'll hold that down and you'll press L. And that's what happens is, well, actually it didn't work for me because it actually locked my actual system. Oh, it actually did work for you guys. Okay, so you'll notice that, hey, it looks like you just logged off, but you didn't. Your system's just locked so that no one can mess with it. So you hit your password, press enter, and hey, you're back to where you were. And it's all the open programs you had is there. If you're downloading something, it's still going to keep downloading. Everything's going to stay the same. So again, it's just Windows key and L, and that will lock the computer and allow you to allow it to stay locked until you come back, or if your husband or wife or whoever is wanting to use it, they can also use it since they would have the password, or at least that's how that should work. Okay, so that's it for tonight, I believe. I hope you guys learned something, and until next time.